Madaram Madare Yogi Mangaleya Kimangalam Pavanam Pavaneb Yogi Harinam Eva Kevalam Brahmastambha Payantam Savamaya Mayam Jagat Satyam Satyam Puna Satyam Harinam Eva Kevalam.
Here we're standing before our temple in Krasnoyarsk, Siberia, Russia. Krasnoyarsk is the third largest city in Siberia, and they also say it's the most beautiful city. Can't really appreciate that so much now because we're just finishing the winter here and there's no leaves on the trees, and it's actually sub-zero weather right now, but it is a beautiful city. And it was founded in 1628. Historically, it was a fort which guarded the eastern frontier of Russia, but it's developed into a very beautiful city. 1 million people, and has a beautiful river. It's called the Yenisei River, and as you'll see in the video, there's a beautiful monastery on top of the hill overlooking the river. In a darker period, Krasnoyarsk was infamous as the place where they had the largest gulag, as they call it here, or a forced labor camp. And our International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been present in this city since 1991, and currently you can see the temple behind me. That was built 8 years ago. And we have about 400 devotees here, about 80 of whom are initiated. Regularly, they have about 10 devotees going out in book distribution, again, during the winter and summer. And they also have here a Food for Life program for the homeless people. One interesting feature that we have here in Krasnoyarsk is the gypsy community just outside the city. We've been preaching there for a number of years. Actually, when I first came here, I think I first came in 1992 here. We had a temple outside the city just next to the gypsy community, a large gypsy community, and we used to go on Harinam to that gypsy community. And that was a lot of fun actually, because in the gypsies they have a tradition also. They like to sing, they like to dance, etc. Actually, it's said that the gypsies originally came from India many centuries ago and settled into the West. So there's a lot of similarities between the gypsy community and our Krishna conscious tradition. So we kind of bonded in those days. On those Harinams. We'd even go inside people's houses and chant and dance, and they'd come out. dance with us. And you know, the Gypsy community has a reputation. Some of their activities are questionable, but like everywhere, the power of the Maha Mantra, it can purify everyone's heart. So eventually, one of the main leaders in the Gypsy community began practicing Krishna consciousness very seriously. And eventually, he became my disciple, Purusa Simha, and his wife also, Sharma Manjari. They're really, really good devotees. So all through these years now, they've continued to preach Krishna consciousness in the Gypsy community. I wouldn't say that anyone else has joined, but we're popular there for our singing and our dancing. And just the other day we had a program at Purusa Singha's house, and many of the leaders of the Gypsy community came, and I was very touched by the depth of their questions. Very nice questions and very nice response. They said they would dedicate themselves to chanting Hare Krishna, they would learn our cooking and come to a Namahara program that Purusa Sim was going to start at his house there. So this is very satisfying.
Hare Namo, Hare Namo, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Hare Namo, Hare Namo, Hare Namaiva Kevalam. Hari Sada Pase Tatra Tatra Bhagavata Jana Gayanti Bhakti Bhavena Harina Maiva Kevala.
Again, as I travel around the world, I see that this is a universal process. It was never meant just for a particular people in a particular continent. Krishna says in Gita that he's the seed-giving father of all living entities. And this is the process, the universal process, the Yuga Dharma, chanting Hare Krishna to bring forth our dormant Krishna consciousness. And it creates so much for me to see, especially the gypsies, taken to Krishna consciousness. It just creates in my heart a deeper faith in the chanting of the holy names and this wonderful process that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us and Srila Prabhupada brought to the West. So, unique feature here, the Gypsy community is very much involved in chanting and dancing and taking prasadam with us. So, here in Krasnoyarsk, we're also preaching in our temple here. We have lots of devotees coming to our programs. There's lots of kirtan and lots of classes, and it's just wonderful at the end of winter here, being in Siberia, sharing our good fortune with others. Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada.
Diyatam, diyatam, kano, niyatam, niyatam, vacha. Giyatam, giyatam, nityam, harinam, maiva kevalam. Jnikritya jagatsara rajate sakalopali Chiranandamaya Shura Harina Maiva Kevala.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Here we are in Novosibirsk. This is the fourth city in our All Russia tour. This city was founded by Tsar Nicholas back in 1893, and at that time it was called Novonikolaisk, in honor of a great saint and also in honor of the Tsar. During the 1940s, in reaction to the war, because the city is quite far to the east, 50 major factories were packed up and moved here in order to reduce the risk of destruction during the war. And at that time it became a center for production for the Red Army, and over 140,000 refugees came here. Now it's, of course, the largest in Siberia, with a population of 1.6 million people. And it's also a center for scientific research.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Devotees came here in the early 90s, and in 1993 they established their first Hare Krishna center. Now there are around 300 devotees here. They're very active. They distribute many, many books. Last year they distributed 25,000 books, 10 full-time distributors, and they also have a very active Food for Life program. Of course, for us, it's always heartwarming to see these devotees working so hard under difficult circumstances to spread Krishna consciousness. Their dedication to Krishna consciousness is obvious, and their taste for kirtan also is very, very inspiring. As always, our aim is just to inspire them in their spiritual life. They're the pioneers who are pushing on Krishna consciousness in this remote corner of the world under difficult circumstances, and we just want to share and inspire them with the basic practices of Krishna consciousness, the hearing about Krishna, Krishna Katha, and of course kirtan. And they love kirtan. You can see it on their faces. As soon as we begin chanting, they respond. And also they're very, very kind and loving. We always are very moved by the receptions that we get here and the appreciation of the devotees. So even though it's a little difficult traveling in this part of the world, we feel very inspired to see Srila Prabhupada's mission going on in such a wonderful way. And to me, such great souls, such great pure devotees of the Lord. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for this opportunity to serve. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, and welcome to Barnaul, Siberia, Russia, where, as you can see, it's still cold. As a matter of fact, it's cold enough for me to wear a hat. My mother saw a picture of me without a hat and wrote me an email chastising me, so I'm warm, Mom. Barnaul is the capital of the Altai mountain region in Siberia. The city itself is over 300 years old, and as you enter the city, one of the oldest cathedrals is perched high on the hill overlooking the city below with a beautiful view of the surrounding plains. In the city of Barnaul is also one of the largest convents to be found in this part of Russia. The city itself is situated between two rivers and not far from the mountains, so it's a great port of industry. Culturally, most of the culture is connected with the church and the religious institutions found here. However, two of the universities rank among the top 100 in the entire country of Russia. The winters here, they're very cold.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Here in Barnaul, there are about 200 devotees in our ISKCON center. They're working very diligently to establish Krishna consciousness here. There are about 7 or 8 brahmacharis that live in the facility and do the daily work to bring it up to standard for being a full residential facility for ISKCON here in Siberia. Daily, the devotees go out on preaching activities, and they have a traveling Sankirtan party that regularly visits all the villages in the Altai mountain region. They also have a thriving local restaurant and are reaching out to the interfaith group through yoga and astrology activities, bringing a wide range of people to Krishna consciousness. One of the most amazing things is the level of enthusiasm that we find as we travel to these different cities in Siberia. Here in Barnaul, the devotees chant and dance with such fervor, such devotion. It's really quite amazing. One would think that it might be a little difficult to establish Krishna consciousness here, but as you speak with the devotees and hear their level of devotional realization and see the activities they're engaged in and how nicely the deities are worshipped, you're really quite amazed. It gives real proof to the fact that Srila Prabhupada built a house that the entire world could live in, even here in Siberia. We feel very honored to be among these devotees and simply hope that this is the first of many visits as we get to take their association and be as enlivened by them as they are by us coming and visiting them. So from Barnaul, Western Siberia, here in Russia, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna